everybody got quiet? The power. I feel like I have the power. I just want to say welcome to each of you. I could not be more excited to share with you what we're going to be doing tonight. What a great opportunity it is to bring in experts from the field. Those people who currently are on the front lines working with students on a daily basis in the capacity for which you are each being prepared presently. So we have our table of experts over here. I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves to you in just a moment. First, I just want to give you a very hearty welcome, a very sincere welcome. And I will tell you that we have our faculty who are present. Thank you so much. We have our guests from the Dean's office here as well. So we have lots of different topics to cover. Also, if you would take notes about things that you might have questions about, we will save time for questions and answers following the session. All right? Without further ado, I will turn it over to our experts. So Gwen, would you get us started, please?
Sure. My name is Gwen Freeman, and I work for the Ithaca City School District at the Senior High School. I am certified administration, English, and reading/literacy. I was the department chair for AIS, Academic Intervention Services, which was the reading component at the high school. The department was dissolved in June. And so I've been fortunate because I am also certified in English. So my job title now is English/reading.
My name is Tracy Kurtz. I'm a reading teacher at Dryden High School, and I'm responsible for teaching Read 180, System 44, NovaNet, which is a credit recovery program, and English AIS.
Hi, my name is John Paul Zaval. I finished this program July 2011, so pretty recently, and I've been teaching high school English at Sherburnerville High School for the past 4+ years, and I teach 9th grade English as well as AIS and also creative writing. And so I've used many of the things I've learned in this program in AIS and try to incorporate as much as I can into the English classroom.
And I really think it's important, we've added John Paul's voice this year because I think that he's representative of some of you who feel that, yes, I want to be more marketable, I want that literacy specialist certification and degree, but I think I might want to stay in my content area classroom. So he can speak to concerns that you might have about that and ways to apply the knowledge that you gain through our program. So as we begin, I will get us started. I'm going to be our mediator for the evening. And for those of you who don't know who I am, I guess you might need to know. My name's Charlotte Pass, so hi, welcome again. And we're going to start by talking about those various roles of the secondary literacy specialist, because this is secondary versus elementary, and it's secondary for a reason. There are different expectations in that position. So if our panelists would like to tackle that one.
The differences in the expectations?
Well, what are the expectations first?
Okay, so going from having done this in the elementary level as well as the secondary level, it really is a different game altogether. You're expected at the elementary level to really teach reading at its very basics, the core all the way up through. You want them to develop their decoding skills, rebuild their encoding skills, work on their comprehension, but it's all at the ground level. When you hit the high school, much of it is recovery. Things that students didn't get. They didn't understand, they didn't get enough support, and so here they are at the high school and they're at a 4th or 5th grade reading level, which is really problematic. So your job then becomes, how do you bring them from that 4th or 5th grade reading level to the 9th or 10th or 11th grade reading level? What can you do as a reading specialist or a literacy specialist to work with that student to help them gain what they need to have to graduate?
Along with all that, in my program, I'm expected, and probably Gwen is too, to look at the 8th grade ELA test scores and make sure that the students that receive 1 or 2s on their 8th grade tests get put into AIS. And our school doesn't happen to have a social studies AIS for those 1s and 2s, so they also get put into English AIS. And when teachers are buying new books, especially new books coming up with the Common Core, the books are then given to me to find out what the Lexile level is, and will it be appropriate for our incoming 9th graders, 10th graders, 11th graders, and things like that. Besides picking them up from beginning reading to pass the Regencies in high school.
What I've seen from, from the AIS class say is that it's a lot about just trying to figure out what those reading strategies are that these students need to succeed in their classes. In my English class, I've integrated specialized study guides, not just questions, but questions that are trying to hit different levels of thinking. My study guides are set up with like columns, like one for during reading thinking ideas, and then post-reading thinking ideas, and we discuss using the different parts of them and trying to get the students just more involved, getting them to use post-it notes to record their thinking while they're reading, if comprehension is a deficit, and just helping them to recognize, because they're old enough to do so, not just my assessment of them, get them to assess what is the problem that they're trying to fix, and to help them grow with that, to help them come up with a plan. I think at the secondary level, you can do that. They need to take ownership of it so that they can succeed when they're not with you. I've seen the literacy specialist at Sherburne. We only have a literacy specialist that works in the middle school in 6, 8, and that person is hit with all those low-level readers that come in to 6th grade, and they're so lost. They're struggling so much with their content area reading, and the teacher does a lot of just reading their level text and trying to bring up their level, encouraging the reading for fun, and trying to figure out ways to get them connected to it. And there's a lot of testing, a lot of reports need to be written. It's a very difficult task.
Any final thoughts about that particular topic? Okay, moving right along. All right, we all keep hearing about the changes in education, the APPR and the Common Core standards, and how that's going to impact what's done in the classroom. I will tell you that I heard recently about the Syracuse City Schools. Even in their vocational schools, vocational ed teachers who teach things like mechanics, etc., are being asked, they're being held accountable for literacy practices, for implementing literacy practices in their classrooms, even in vocational education. So, with that in mind, how do you see these things impacting the jobs that each of you do? That's not a loaded question at all.
Wow. This is an ongoing discussion that we've been looking at Ithaca for about a year. The APPR is part of it is mandated by the state, and part of it is local. And it's that local piece where you have some opportunity to make make some inroads into what you want the teachers to actually have used for their observation. And it has to do with the testing, what kind of testing you're doing. And quite honestly, most of us are still walking around wondering what we're doing, and it is not final in any stretch of the imagination. We do know that the Common Core standards are being imposed in some places where maybe the standards don't seem to fit what the Common Core seems to rule. In Ithaca, we are actually one step above the Common Core, so that's not been an issue for us. It doesn't mean that we still aren't under the gun as far as the APPR and making sure that we cover every single aspect that the Common Core are demanding. But I think that far we're okay. We've actually been through the city situation at the high school and come up smelling like a rose, fortunately. And that was in English language arts, so you can imagine what that was like. The Common Core is being demanded in AIS support as well. So be aware of that. I think that that is the essence of what they want the AIS to support in my district is that the students meet all the Common Core standards, that the teachers provide and that we support. So it's not easy.
Now, in your school in particular, what's going on with the content area literacy?
As we dissolved the department, it was decided that Common Core teachers were going to become part of the AIS supports. And there was actually a meeting today of all of the AIS providers in the English department. And there were 9 of us. 2 of us are actually certified reading. The others are all English certified. And they're looking at us, wanting to know what they should be doing. So at this point, Mrs. Moore and I are sitting down to work out some of the things that we think we can share with the AIS teachers from the English department to provide specific supports for the students, with strategies to work with first, how to differentiate when you've got AIS sections that are 9, 10, 11, and 12 all in the same room, 10 to 12 students, sometimes 14. So your differentiation has to be pretty incredible and pretty quick. You've got to see what the kids need and then move in fast. The other thing is, our AIS program, although we have the 8th grade score that we still go by, and those that are mandated until they actually take the Regents exam and can be exited from the program, they are giving us walk-ins on a regular basis. So I'm feeling like the local clinic, you know. A teacher will send me an email and say, so-and-so is having trouble with fill in the blank, and they will be with you until they can prove otherwise. Okay, now I've already got 14 students, and here comes another one. So we'll differentiate a little more. So basically, that's what we're having to do this year. It's getting interesting. Each department has their own AIS instructors. Social studies, science, math, and English. Oh, and foreign language. And there are 3 of us who are literacy certified as part of the former department that are still there. So we're being spread a little thin at the moment.
Our AIS is very similar. It is like a revolving door, depending on, oh, they were absent for 2 weeks, can you catch them up? So then you have